We move from Ulster hurling to Ulster football. So we'll take a look at the football action, and Donegal against Tyrone, I suppose, is the game that stood out. It was the highly anticipated game. I think it was the game that everybody was very much looking forward to, and the build up of the game. Donegal went out by 2 points in the end, 10 different scores in total for Donegal. Oisin Gallen with 3 points, Darragh O'Boyle, Niall O'Donnell, Paddy McBrearty all getting 2 points apiece. Brendan McCall obviously getting a late point right at the death to send it into extra time. Great win for Donegal, but look, I mean, myself and yourself, we've been fairly critical of Tyrone this year at the best of times. But they probably do deserve a lot of credit here, because like they really did give a real game out of this. I thought they set up very well. They set up very much to mirror Donegal. I think Brian Dooher was very dog-wide to Donegal's tactics, especially after what they done versus Derry. And Noel Morgan, like what more can you say? Like he was absolutely brilliant. 3 points from him. So Donegal get over the line. It'll be a big win for them, because it's a different kind of win to the Derry win, which I think Jim McGuinness will be very happy about. But at the same time, Tyrone can take positives going into the group stages. But I think you'll agree with me on this point. They need to build on this now, really going into the group stages.
What I will say, and I will credit Tyrone now at this podcast, so it's almost like the sky's coming in. But Tyrone had a very good performance, I will say. Like, in fairness, there was times that Donegal looked under pressure. Darragh Canavan did well at times. What I would say, Michael Curlin's really impressed in the last 2 games. That's 5 points from play in 2 games from corner back. So maybe a player to watch in the championship as it goes on. Kieran Daly had a good performance as well. Shawnee O'Donnell and Niall Morgan, as you mentioned, was absolutely superb for Tyrone. I think the problem for Tyrone in this game was the same as the Cavan game. They couldn't close it out. I think they were 4 points or 3 points in front going down the home stretch in this, but Donegal still pegged them back into it without Donegal playing too well in the game. So that must be a concern for Brian Dooher and Fergal Logan, without a doubt. And I think he and Mackie mixed it in the Sunday game last night, and he made a good point on this. That Tyrone need to. This isn't a Tyrone team that you be familiar with. I know they have a lot of young players and they have a lot to learn in regards to closing out games, but a Tyrone team wouldn't go 4 or 5 points up and not win the game afterwards, or draw the game and get to extra time. Brian Dooher and Fergal Logan need to improve on that as the championship goes on, and there's no doubt about that. As for Donegal, look, they produced a breathtaking performance against Derry. Wasn't that breathtaking in this game? They looked very, very sluggish, and there wasn't really any standout performance in this game, which was something to take from a Donegal point of view. But they got over the line, and that was the main thing about it. Like, even when they struggled, they still scored 18 points, even after extra time. Like, probably look at the scores, the standouts were probably Niall O'Donnell, Kieran Thompson, and Darragh O'Boyle had very good performances with 2 points each, all for play, I believe, as well. So really good performance from a Donegal point of view. And obviously Jack McKelvey getting a late point coming on in extra time. Brendan McCall obviously getting that equaliser. So the spread of scores from a Donegal point of view must be really pleasing from a Jim McGuinness standpoint, because I counted there, I'm just counting now, they had 11 different scores in this game and 18 points. So that will tell me that a lot of players are contributing to the scoring in this Donegal team, and they will go into the final against Armagh in a few weeks' time, going along very, very confidently. And they haven't lost a game across league and championship. They only lost the 1 game in the McKenna Cup against Derry earlier on the season. But to be unbeaten in competitive competitions as of now in 2024 must be a positive for Jim McGuinness going into the Ulster Final. And they'll be happy with the results, not so much with the performance. There's still a lot to improve on from a Donegal point of view. But as for Tyrone, better performances, but they still need to close out games more when they are in the ascendancy.
Yeah, like I suppose for Donegal, like we were saying, like Donegal have been a hard team to judge in some ways this year, a little bit like Armagh, because obviously they've been playing in Division 2. It's hard to have really judged them. Like, no doubt they've made progress, and we've obviously both said that. Like, they've made significant progress, obviously, this year. Some big wins throughout the league, obviously beating Armagh and Croke Park. And then, of course, obviously the big win against Derry, I think, was the one that really stood out. But as you said, in a game where they had to be patient, they had to wait for the right moment. Obviously, a chaotic last couple of minutes of the game. They nearly get a goal. It obviously falls to Brendan McCall. But I think Jim McGuinness will be very happy about that at the same time, that Donegal, you know, like it's, as you said, performance-wise, I don't necessarily think they played poorly or anything. I just think Tyrone played very well, and Donegal have to be very patient. And let's not forget as well that, look, Donegal do have experienced lads in there, but they do also have a lot of young players in there who haven't been in this situation too often in recent years. So the fact they were able to dig it out and get the win, I think that's something that could really stand to them against Armagh, because I can't see that game against Armagh being very similar, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it won't be. And I think Donegal will have to take a lot of, what they did right in this Tyrone game and take it into the Armagh game, because like the way they performed against Tyrone, I don't think it'll be good enough if Armagh performed to their utmost pomp. But we'll get on to Armagh in a sec. They aren't usually very consistent themselves, so that has to be taken into account as well. But I do think Donegal, they are in a decent place at the moment. They still haven't lost a game. They have a lot of scores on the sheet. I think in the first game of the league against Cork, they had 12, 13 different scores. They had 11 different scores in this game, and they had plenty of different scores against Derry. They don't necessarily have, I know they've Oisin Gallen and Paddy McBrearty, granted, and Darragh Boyle, who's a goal-getting machine at the moment, but they don't necessarily have a forward that stands out, but they do have players that are well contributing to the scoreboard. And if Oisin Gallen and Paddy McBrearty can produce an outstanding performance one day, and the other players do what they usually do and chip in with a score or two, Donegal will be hard to stop this year. I do think so. I think they're a very, very good team. They might not win the All-Ireland this season, but I do think there's a lot of progress being made with Jim McGuinness' side. And I do think, even to come out with a result like that and not perform very well, it has to be a positive for them. And I do think Donegal are going to the Ulster Final on a very positive standpoint at this present moment in time, and going to the All-Ireland series in a lot more positive vein than they did last season. Last season, they were very, very poor under Paddy Carr initially. They were very, very poor going into the group stages of the All-Ireland series, but they turned it around eventually, I guess, later on in the season. But when you look at this season, there's a bit more consistency with their performances certainly the results under Jim McGuinness. When you look at all their games across league and championship, they only failed to win one. Coincidentally, that was against Armagh in the league. And I'm sure they want to rectify that and beat Armagh once again after they did so in the league final. So I do think Donegal are in a good position at this present moment of time, and we'll see the fruition of that once it comes to the Ulster Final.
Yeah, what did you make a lot of the criticism Jim McGuinness has been getting? Obviously, Colin Parkinson most notably, very much going after Jim McGuinness, saying it's no different from obviously when he was in charge 10 years ago and everything else. And just for the record, I do quite enjoy Colin Parkinson's podcasts and everything else. I don't subscribe to his show now, to be fair, but used to be a big fan of him back in the day and everything else. But just in terms of Jim McGuinness, obviously getting a lot of hate for I suppose setting Donegal up very similarly to how they were set up 10 years ago. There definitely are similarities there, but I think it was more so down to this game as such, rather than the overall year. But what have you made of the McGuinness backlash? But certainly a bit of backlash in the last last day or so since this win.
I think it's been very harsh, in all honesty. I think, look, Jim McGuinness, Donegal have really performed above themselves throughout the season, and they have done really well. And as soon as a bad performance happens, it seems like the media is on his back. And I put it this way, Aaron. There was a Donegal journalist, I'm not sure of his name now off the top of my head, but there was a Donegal journalist that helped Kevin Cassidy write his book, and they said bad things about Jim McGuinness, and he hasn't been allowed into media spaces. And a lot of stick has gone towards Jim McGuinness for that, which was wrong in fairness, and he has to probably just talk to that journalist and explain his wrongdoings. But in terms of the wider media, if they're going to criticise Donegal and Jim McGuinness's tactics and things like that, why do you think Jim McGuinness doesn't want to talk to the media after games? It's because of the media backlash he's going to get. And it's almost like even after a decent enough win against a decent Tyrone side who performed very well, to be fair to him yesterday, and even winning the game, it's almost like he gets backlash anyway. And it's just I almost feel sorry for him more than anything. I just feel he's under too much pressure. For not just the Donegal media, but the Ulster media more than anything as well. And it's just harsh on him. I think it's really harsh on Colin Parkinson himself as well. Colin Parkinson, obviously, I respect him and all that. He does follow my stats and everything like that, and I like him for that. And the opinions, some of his opinions are really, really good. The show he did at Virgin Media was excellent, I will say. But some of the opinions he comes out with are a bit over the top. And I think there is a time where you have to credit Jim McGuinness. Donegal performed badly, granted, but they did get the win at the end of the day. So you have to give Donegal a bit of credit, give them their flowers for that win in general. So I think it's the criticism he is getting, if he is getting that height of criticism, is way over the top, to be honest.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, and to be fair, like, I don't think it's no different to so many teams up and down the country. Like, Down set up the exact same way against Armagh. Tyrone set up very similarly to how Donegal have. We saw Derry do that very similarly over the last couple of seasons as well. Obviously, different teams have different variations. Some teams press at certain points, but I don't think Donegal, based off of that one performance, I think you can label them the exact same as how it was 10 years ago, in my opinion, anyway. But there we go. The other game in Ulster, Down 2-6, Armagh 13 points. Yeah, I mean, look, in all honesty, it was a bit of a brutal game, really. Like, it was a point apiece after 20 minutes. You were kind of wondering, did any team really want to win this game? Wasn't particularly impressed with Armagh, in all honesty. I know they got over the line, and a lot of people are obviously giving them praise for getting over the line with Jason Duffy's last-minute point. But at the same time with Armagh, like, it's the same old with Armagh, in my opinion. Like, they seem to only play in this game when they went behind or when they needed to score. When they went in front, they would keep the ball for large parts. They would overplay the ball. They would run into tackles, and they would just allow Down to get themselves back into the game. And then Down would get themselves a goal, go back in front, and Armagh would respond with a flurry of points. Like, even towards the end of the first half, Down obviously get that goal right towards the end of half time. Armagh, I think, kicked 3 points in quick succession between the end of the first half and the start of the second half. So, like, when Armagh attack teams, when they go after teams, they're a very good side. But you just feel like they don't do it enough. And it must be very frustrating, I think, as an Armagh fan.
Yeah, I think it's frustrating at times for Armagh. But at the same time, you have to give them credit for even coming back into the game and going on to win it. Because you looked at years down the pass for Armagh, they've struggled in these sorts of games to get over the line. They've got extra time, and the joke is, you know what happens after that? They go to penalties and lose. So I think that is a positive for Armagh, that they got over the line this game. They got to the right shooter in Jason Duffy and got the point at the end. I think they took the points through Aidan Nugent and Jason Duffy really well in this game. Throughout the end of it, they kept the ball for a long period of time, tired Down out, and then eventually they kick it to the right man, the shooter, and he puts it over the bar. And I think that's a positive for Armagh to take. From a Down point of view, I think Down, I know people would say that, and you yourself are saying Armagh did very badly. I think Down deserve a lot of credit, because what they thought, what it is with Down, they thought themselves, and they thought everybody else's mindset on this, they don't have the talent to deal with Armagh, so we're going to sit back and we're going to let Armagh just come towards us. And it was just Armagh were kicking wide after wide, and that was a bit draining on them in the first half. And Down themselves, their shooting was very, very poor, 44%. I think they'll be actually kicking themselves coming out of this game, Down, when you look at that. I think defensively, they were really, really good. They were really compact. Even look at the game on GA Go. But when you look at the stats, 18 shots, 8 taken. And that just proves it, that they left it behind them in this game. They only scored 2-4 from play. Actually, weird enough, from play, their shooting accuracy was 60%. From frees, it was 25%. So that just epitomised, they were really, really bad on the place balls. When Armagh conceded a free, they weren't able to take that opportunity. And in fairness to Down, they took some very nice scores. Like Ryan Johnson scored in the second half, was a peach. Danny McGill's was as well. And they took some very nice scores to the goals as well. Caleb Doherty's goal right on the stroke of half time was really, really good. Really good counter-attack from a Down point of view. And they could count themselves unlucky in this game. But to be fair, Armagh, even with performing that badly, they still found a way to win. And their shooting accuracy was decent enough at 65%. So I will say there is a positive for Armagh to take it to the Ulster Final, that they can in these tight games. And even when they are performing well, they could get over the line in this game. But before I switch over to you, Aaron, I wanted to get a few people's thoughts on the Jason Duffy point, because I noticed this clip from Twitter from a Down fan actually, and I saved it and posted it on my Instagram. And I just noticed, I didn't notice it when I watched it on GA Go, but then Andrew Murnan colliding with Caleb Doherty. Is that a third man tackle? And could that be, number one, and the crucial question of free out, and number two, possibly a black card?
Yeah, like, I mean, but that's the thing. Like, if O'Donoghue's is a yellow card for Cork, then this one has to be a yellow card, and that is the inconsistencies. In fairness, like, and like this one, yeah, it was a blatant foul, and it's kind of surprising. Really, it hasn't really been picked up. Like Peter Canavan alluded to it a little bit at full time, or sorry, on the Sunday game a little bit last night. But generally speaking, nobody really has touched on it or discussed it or anything like that. Like, I think the argument maybe is that Caleb Doherty wasn't going to get to Jason Duffy and the ball, had gone. But if Caleb Doherty had got closer to him, maybe it might have put Jason Duffy off. Maybe he doesn't go for the point. Maybe he loses the ball. You know what I mean? Like, so it's an interesting one. I do think Down maybe were a little bit unfortunate there, to be fair.
What I will say about the Sean O'Donoghue incident as well, I don't think, for instance, and I do think I'd stick to the fact that the Sean O'Donoghue was a second yellow card. And as well as that, I don't think Shane O'Donnell is getting to Patrick Collins. So if you're going to make that argument and you think Sean O'Donoghue is a second yellow and a red card, then you have to say this is a foul. A foul is a foul. I know there is an argument, but that's only arguments. That's ifs, buts, and maybes if he's going to get to the ball or not. But you don't know that for sure. Maybe Jason Duffy, as you said rightly, could have been put under pressure by Caleb Doherty racing in. So I think Down have a point to make about this. I really do. And I think it was a crucial game for Down, obviously, to stay in the Sam Maguire Cup. And ultimately, I feel disappointed for them in particular, because they did prove throughout the whole season that they are a Sam Maguire team. But those sorts of decisions, and the fact that shooting accuracy was down as well, I think will haunt Down. It really will. And the fact they didn't win the Division 3 final, which ultimately, if you won the Division 3 final in the end, it would have got you into Sam Maguire. So all those sorts of things, them small grain of rice stuff again with Paddy O'Shea, I think will come back to bite Down. I think they will win the Tailteann Cup if they take it seriously, and they might get a good year out of it. But I think, honestly, they are a Sam Maguire team, Aaron, and it's just unfortunate that they have made so Sam Maguire because of these small little incidents.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. A2 says here, awful shot selection from Down, cost them dearly. Last 10 minutes taken. Hail Mary shots. Donegal will beat Armagh. Yeah, like maybe that shot obviously from the sideline as well. Like, did they need to go for that? Should they have tried to work it a bit more further in fairness? But yeah, maybe just quickly on that. Like, I know that game's in 2 weeks' time, but Donegal Armagh, who would you back, or who would you lean towards at this moment in time?
I think Donegal will have him. I think Donegal will win the Ulster final. But what I will say about Armagh, number one, they'll be looking for vengeance because they did lose to Donegal and they drew against Donegal in the league. So they want to just even the pedestal more than anything. And number two, as well, they know how to win games after that game against Down. Performing good, bad, whatever, they got over the line. And that was the main thing from an Armagh point of view. And yes, you could argue the Caleb Doherty incident was a foul. But for Armagh to work the clock like that really impressed me going down the home stretch. So they'll take that as a positive going to the Ulster final. I do think it'll be a close game. It will be a nip and tuck game throughout. I do think Donegal are just a slightly better team at this present moment in time. If the thing is, like, Donegal won that league final without Ryan McHugh and without Paddy McBrirt in the team. They will be there for the Ulster final. So I think Donegal will just have their number this game, unfortunately, from an Armagh point of view.
Yeah. I'd edge towards Donegal as well, but I do think Armagh. Look, Armagh, to be fair, like they will fancy it. They will bring their numbers and everything else, and they certainly will believe they can do it. But I would edge towards Donegal at this moment in time. Leinster football semi-finals then. Kildare 13 points, Louth 17 points. Louth get the job done. They get over the line in the end from a Louth perspective. Samuel Roy, obviously, impressive performance from him, 7 points. Conor Grimes with 2 points. First time Louth have got to back-to-back Leinster finals since 1958. And even looking at some of Louth's stats, 20 goals they've scored, obviously, in the league so far. Even their points per game as well. Like, they're actually one of the best attacking teams in the country, believe it or not, in terms of what they're finishing up with game on game. But yeah, firstly, like, massive congratulations to Louth. Kildare had a few moments, but in reality, I thought Louth were very, very comfortable.
Yeah, it was a comfortable enough win for Louth, even though I didn't actually get the opportunity to watch the game. But even looking at scores and scores from play, Louth got 12 points from play, Kildare got 6, which just proved that Louth were just the better team, no doubt about it. And what I will say about Kildare, it was just concerning listening to the pundits at the Sunday game talking about this game, that they kind of threw in the towel in the last few minutes. And this was a crucial game for Kildare to get in the Sam McGuinness Cup. And you just feel from a Kildare point of view, is this an all-time low going down to the Tailteann Cup? And I discussed this with Seamus last night. The only way to save Glenn Ryan's season now and save potentially his job is to win the Tailteann Cup. If they do not win it, there will be a lot of questions asked about this Kildare team. But on the positive, for Louth, brilliant win for them. Sam Roy was really exemplary in this game. Conor Grimes got man of the match from GA Go, deservedly so. Really good performance from him. Tommy Durnan getting that last minute point to seal it, getting 2 points himself as well. It was all a very good performance from Louth. And obviously, Justine, now they actually lost the under-20 final to Meath this evening, but even to get to that position and beat Dublin in under-20, it just shows that Louth football is rising through the ranks. So that is good to see as well. And to get to their first back-to-back Leinster final since 1958, I'm hearing, is a very good achievement for them. So fair play to Louth winning this game. But for Kildare, where to next, Aaron? They have to win the Tailteann Cup now.
Yeah, I think they need to approach it in the exact same way that Meath approached it. And I think the fact that Kildare under 20s are obviously gone as well, like they're out of championship, like that could be a blessing in disguise, that maybe they can get their under 20 lads into their senior team and mix up the team and try something different potentially for the Tailteann Cup. But yeah, like, from looking at the game and everything else, like the amount of times they got into good positions to work goal chances and the pass would just break down. Like, their decision making in the final third was just very, very poor. And certainly a lot of soul searching for Kildare. Final game then, Dublin 3-22, Offaly 11 points, was at the game in Croke Park on the hill. The atmosphere was very much like a tennis match. It wasn't really, there wasn't really anything to go off of. The handicap was 20 points. It finished as 20 points. Yeah, like, I mean, there's kind of nothing really else to say. Like, the game went, I suppose, as we expected it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like, why do you even talk about this game? Like, I know I will say, from an Offaly point of view, it was a brilliant performance. Even look at the highlights for Keith O'Neill. And he looks a really good young player. I have to say, like, some of the points he was taking at Croke Park was exceptional, I have to say, and fair play to him for doing that. Dylan Hyland scored 5 points. There were some very good performances from an Offaly point of view. But Seamus was in the media box for this, and he was talking to me about this and talking about some Offaly players, Mick Fitzsimons, James McCarthy, all them going to Offaly players, and then the game's over before the ball's even thrown in. And it's almost like it's just apathy at this stage. And even Daniel Hussey, our good friend, obviously put up a post on X about this, about the attendances just dropping. To put into context, the last meeting between Dublin and Offaly in the Leinster Championship, it was a full house, packed out in Croke Park. Yesterday, 21,000.
Yeah.
And they say the Leinster Championship is as good as ever, don't they? The Leinster Council. It's just, honestly, Aaron, it's just laughable at this stage. It really is. And I think, honestly, the Offaly players just expected to lose when they went out in the field. And it's just so unfortunate, more than anything, that they go into the Tailteann Cup in this sort of form now. And they go into it with a bit of negativity for them, because that young team and a young manager, to say the least, Declan Kelly, had to experience that. It's just so unfortunate. For Dublin, to be honest, Aaron, and you'll say the same yourself, good performance from Colin Baskill and Cormac Costello and all them, and Noel Scully and Conor O'Callaghan getting the other 2 goals. But in all seriousness, did they actually learn anything? No. Like, did we learn anything from this game? No, we didn't learn anything from. Like, there's no point in even doing stats in this game. There's no point in analysing it. It's just 20 points. I say it in my predictions video, this will be 20 points or more. But it's probably bang on the money, to be fair.
Yeah, and to be fair, I don't even think Dublin got out of third gear as well. Like, they were very, very comfortable. There was times even in the first half, like, they'd so much space on the attack and they would slow it down. And yeah, like, you felt like if Dublin really pushed it, they probably could have won this by even more. Just adding even more insults to injury. And I seen this earlier as well. Dean was putting in a comment here. How's things, lads? Did you see the price of tickets for the Leinster final? It's scandalous. A2 says €40 tickets for the Leinster final. Scandalous. Bravo. Leinster Council, you absolute idiots, killing the championship dead. Yeah, I saw that as well. Like €40 for a sitting ticket, €30 for a hill ticket. Yeah, just absolutely crazy. Like, to put it into perspective, like, to go to the rugby game, one of the lads I know got a ticket to see the rugby on Saturday and he paid a tenner. Now, he does have a restricted view, so that could be why. But that's €10 he's paying, for rugby there. And a Leinster final is €30 €30 standing on the hill, 40 sitting. Do you know what I mean? So for any Louth fans, like, majority of Louth fans probably won't go to the hill, you would imagine. So they'll probably go to a sitting ticket. So yeah, like, it's crazy, really. Like, they clearly just aren't reading the room at all.
No, and to be honest, it's almost like that Simpsons meeting with Grandpa Abraham Simpson and Mr. Burns. The Leinster Council, can you go at least 5 minutes without embarrassing yourselves? Like, it's just like, it's ridiculous. Like, €40 for a seating ticket in a game that there's going to be no competition for. Please explain. Like, it's ridiculous, really. And like, I was thinking that Cork and Kerry was a bad price for a ticket at 25, 20 or €20 for a terrace ticket, 25 for a seating ticket in the one stand in Killarney. And this game, Louth and Dublin. To be fair, though, what was I going to say? The LGFA final is before that, Dublin and Meath, and that is a competitive game, to be fair. But the main event, apparently, the curtain closer, is a game that we know the result of already before the ball's even thrown in. And it really is a joke, Aaron. It's almost like, at the same time, though, the Cork and Kerry game actually had a double header, Kerry Tipperary in the ladies' football, and that was the same. It was €25 for standing ticket, €20 for seating. And Cork and Kerry was much more competitive than this is going to be. Like, it's just ridiculous, in all honesty. And I said this before, and I'll say it again as well. These, not necessarily Leinster final, but the Leinster quarter-final and the Leinster semi-final need to be moved out of Croke Park. They need to be moved to Portlaoise, to Tullamore, to Park Talton, to make a bit of an atmosphere out of it. Because yesterday, even look at the highlights, you could even see the seagulls flying around the place, and you could see the empty seats. That's what the Leinster Council are signing up to now. And to fix this issue, they have to go with the obvious one: move it outside Croke Park. Like, it's simple, but they don't do it. And it's just ridiculous at this stage. And the pricing, as the commenter mentioned there, is even more ridiculous.
Yeah, no, absolutely is. No, it's absolutely criminal. In fairness, the cost and everything else, and you really do feel like the Leinster Council and everything else, I think surely they need to look at this. Surely they need to look at just moving them outside Croke Park. At least the Leinster semi-finals, the Leinster final, fair enough. But as you said, like, Dublin overall, like, there were some good performances in there, no doubt. Like what you said, Con obviously getting a goal and a couple of points. Con Basquel, and as you said, Keith O'Neill, very good for Offaly. And interesting enough, actually, that point he scored with the outside of his boot down by the sideline, like, the hill, almost the whole hill actually clapped when he scored that. So that, like, doesn't really happen. Now, is that because we know Dublin are going to absolutely trash them, do you know, that way? But I think there was also an element of, like, it was an unbelievable score, in fairness. But yeah, look, I think we'll go ahead and wrap this one up here. In terms of moment of the week, player of the week, what would you look towards?
In hurling, I'd go player of the week. I'd probably have to say Mark Rogers. I'm going to go for him, 1-6. That was an incredible performance. Lee Chin is up there, to be fair to him, with 2-11 as well, despite Wexford losing. But I'll go for Mark Rogers. In moment of the week for hurling, there's quite a few, actually. You could go Gerard Walsh doing that interview for BBC Northern Ireland, scoring that point for Antrim. You could go Kevin McDonald signing the autographs, or just the general respect shown by Ronan Marr for getting the physios onto the pitch to get Peter Casey off the pitch. That was a great moment as well, and hopefully Peter gets well soon, as mentioned before. But I'd probably go for the Antrim win. That was a brilliant win, and the circumstances with George Walsh getting that sideline, I'd go for that. In terms of football player of the week, I'd probably go, to be fair to Rian O'Neill from Armagh. I think he did very well in midfield for them, despite Armagh performing badly at times in the game. And moment of the week, I'll go for what you said, Keith O'Neill scoring that point in the heel tapping. And it just shows that this guy is a serious player coming up through the ranks as well, Keith. So yeah, that'll be my awards for this week.
Absolutely. Yeah, look, in terms of moment of the week, I'd go towards Antrim's win over Wexford. Don't think you can look past that. And yeah, I think in terms of player of the week, I'd probably look towards Sean Elliott. Patrick Horgan was absolutely outstanding as well. So I look towards both of them two. And then in the football was a little bit difficult. Probably Noel Morgan for Tyrone. I thought he was absolutely outstanding in fairness. So yeah, look, I think we will go ahead and wrap this one up here. Maybe to finish up here, A2 says Dublin win Leinster in 2037, 8,746 attendance in Croker. Leinster Council, the Leinster Championship has never been better. Yeah, that's literally it. That is literally it. And I suppose that's the perfect cue to end it on. So yeah, Matthew, cheers very much for jumping on the show. Anyone who tuned in, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, we'll go ahead and see you all soon.